right.
Make your dreams come true.
Yeah. Talk to me.
I want to be with you.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Nene. I know that it has been some time. My daughter's school schedule is different now because it is summertime, so that doesn't allow me the time that I used to have to record before work. I am going to try to still find some time to at least put 1 to 2 videos out for at least August, and then in September I'll be back to my regular schedule, okay? But today I wanted to try to do this video. I kept debating back and forth when I should do it, how I should do it. I wanted to do it in a way that made more sense. I picked out 3 different palettes. This one, my earthy, and this one. So 2 out of the 3 y'all have seen me use already. I wanted to do a video that discussed how to use makeup palettes. I felt like that is a simple topic for a lot of people, but to a day one beginner, it is not. When I first learned how to do makeup, was learning how to do makeup, I was very confused. I would watch these YouTube channels and the girls, they would just pick a color and they would throw it on the eye and they would blend them and it just looked good. But in my mind, I'm like, well, how did they know to pick that particular color? How did they know where to put that color? How did they know these colors would blend right? Okay, and then a lot of times the palettes have so many different colors. You're like, well, where do I start? In the beginning, when I used to look at a palette, it just looked like a bunch of colors to me. It didn't really, nothing really clicked for me as to what colors to choose, what colors to put together, what colors to blend together, what would look good together, what would help me achieve the look that I wanted versus, because sometimes you want the colors to contrast. You want that color to pop, and sometimes you just want those colors to blend. How would I know to do that, and what colors would be the best for that? So I decided to choose 2 palettes that you guys already seen me use, so that maybe you can go back and look at that video again to see how I did that once I explain how my thought process, okay? It was not until I really started to understand makeup and that when I opened the palette, they started to look different to me in a way. Before, I just saw colors. Now, when I open a palette, I don't see colors. I see a transition color, a highlighting color, the lid color, the outer corner color, the smoky color. Those make a difference versus just opening the palette and just seeing colors, because you're lost as where to start, where to begin. So that's how it was for me anyway. Now I'm going to start off with this palette, which y'all have never seen me use before. This is the smoky Glam palette from Bella Beauty Bar. It is a beautiful palette, and I chose this palette because it is exactly what its name says it is. It's smoky. So opening this palette, automatically there's a lot going on in here, a lot of colors. Okay, I would open a palette like this before and just be lost, clueless. Now when I open a palette, I see a lid color, lid color, lid color, lid color. So the shimmers can, more than likely, most people choose shimmers for lid colors, but you can also choose matte colors for lid colors. So here I see a lid color, a lid color, a lid color. Okay, in these greens I see transitional. This is like that deepening, what's the right, deepening my crease. These are deepeners. I'd use them on the outside to help give me that smoky look. So let's first talk about how to dissect the palette. Okay, when you have a palette like this, people tend to be overwhelmed. You can easily cut off some of that palette. Say right here at the top, you could just like cut this top off to your view, you know? Even if you needed to put a piece of paper, all right. So even if you needed to put something there to block it like this. Now you just have this bottom half of the palette, right? Now you're gonna look at this palette because sometimes people, again, they get overwhelmed. Let's talk about the types of colors you're looking for. You're always gonna look for a transitional color. That is the color that usually goes here under the brow, down into the crease, because it is blending from your skin color into that eyeshadow look. It's supposed to make it not be so harsh. You're gonna look for the lid color. That's what goes here. Usually the lid color is the star of the show. It is what helps the eyes sparkle and shine. And even like I said, even when it's matte, it's usually still the star of the show. The color, that's the main color that all the other colors are really based around. You have the inner highlight color. That's the color that usually a lot of people do tend to use some sparkle there. But there are times people use just a brighter matte. This is because it helps to, how they say, quote unquote, pop the eyes open the eyes. Especially if you're doing a smoky look. Sometimes smoky looks can make the eyes look a little smaller. Once you put the lash and all the smokiness, it makes the eyes look smaller. So you have that highlighting color that opens the eyes a little bit more for you. It just means it makes them look a little bigger, a little brighter. You're going to have that crease color. A lot of times crease colors are used to either blend in that transitional color or deepen the crease to give the effect of, I guess, a smoky look, or darken it up, or to enhance that transitional color, or to better, I don't really want to say enhance, to better complement that transitional color, which helps to make everything come together. Then a lot of times you're gonna have this outer corner here. This is where a lot of people like to do the smoky eye, that smoky look, or they smoke out the color. It's usually darker than the other colors, okay? Let's see. I think that's really it. You have these colors down here, under the eye. That's usually a blend of something that you've already done up here on the lid, okay? So now let's go back into how to dissect the palette. So we're just going to focus on these 3 rows here. Automatically, you're going to look at the shimmer, right? Those shimmer colors, they're definitely for the lid. See here? So let's just say we're going to do that basic shimmer look, okay? So let those pop out to you automatically as your lid colors, okay? Then we're going to talk about your transitional color. For me, everyone is different. When I choose a transitional color, I like to use something that's lighter. Everyone, again, puts their makeup on different. When I'm choosing a transitional color, it's usually brighter than my crease color, because I like to deepen up my crease first. Some people put in the crease first and then they blend it up. I prefer to use a lighter color, then deepen it. That is because it's easier to deepen a color versus lighten a color. If you put a deeper color on first, and you're still new to the makeup, you may not blend it out as well as it needs to be blended to give it that cohesive look that you're trying to achieve. Okay, so we have the lid colors already. Now for me, a transitional color would probably be something like this one, or this one, or this one, even some of those greens, because I can see here that the deepest colors are these two blacks, right? This one has glitter. This one is just matte. For me, these two, one of these two would go into the outer part of my eye. Okay? So let's take it down a little bit more. And let's just make it these 3 rows here. So, I see a lid color. I see the outer corner smoky colors. These are they could be the crease colors. These two can definitely be crease colors. This can be some good transitional colors because you would use this gray right here as your transitional. Deepen it up that outer corner with this black because that's your outer corner, right? And then you'd have this on the lid, and if and depending if you wanted to go matte, because you've already used this color, you can still put it on the inner corner, or you can use one of these other colors and put that on the inner corner. Usually what's in the inner corner is usually bright. That's because they're using it to, like I said, pop open the eyes a little bit more. Okay, so I hope I'm explaining it right. I'm trying to think of like how it was for me when I first was learning makeup, and I just did not know what colors to choose at all. Like when I opened the palette, and I was so upset because I wanted to use a makeup palette so badly, and I just didn't know where to begin. So I'm hoping that this video is gonna help you or someone you know or anybody to. Okay, so let's open this palette. Automatically we see those shimmers. There are lid colors. I want to say 9 out of 10, right? Sometimes you are going to go for a matte lid color. But I think if you're going to go for now I see some beautiful matte lid colors, like this color. That's pretty. That's pretty. Now you have to think about how you're going to deepen up the eye look. So when you choose a matte lid color, look around and see what's deeper in that palette. What can go in the crease? What can go in the outer part of the eye? Because it's the darkness versus the shimmer versus the what's this way versus the transition color. They all need to blend cohesively. The matte lid colors, right? So more than likely, if you're new to the makeup thing, you want shimmer, right? Most people do. So you're gonna see those shimmer colors automatically now when you open up. Those are automatic lid colors. They're automatic highlighting, inner corner highlighting colors. And some people even like to highlight a little bit underneath the eyebrow. That's a preference. I don't really care to do that. Some people like to put a little shimmer under there. That's more of an old school thing. I don't see too many people do it right now, but some people do it. So those shimmers, those are my lid colors. I see that automatically when I open up this palette, right? So I'm thinking, okay, what am I putting on my lid, right? Because you're going to premeditate. Even if you're just making up the look as you go, you're still thinking about it as you go. Now, on top of those shimmer colors, I'm going to see my transitional colors, which for me, like I said, they're usually like bright, but not too bright. Like, I'm not going to use this as a transitional color. I needed to smooth out from my skin color, my skin tone into that color. Like, it needs to be the perfect gradient. I'd probably use this as something a little deeper, even this one here, because now I know I have this deeper green here to like deepen my crease. This is a crease color for me. This is a crease color. This is a crease. These deeper browns here, even this red here is a crease color for me. So I'm going to go from now my transition to my crease. And now I'm thinking about that inner corner and that outer corner. The outer corner, again, those deeper colors, they're going to be my smoky colors. They're going to help me smoke out my eyes and help achieve that perfect blend from light to dark, dark to light, whatever it is that I'm trying to achieve. I hope that I've explained it right to you guys. Now, when it comes to bigger palettes, people tend to feel overwhelmed. Like I said, cut the palette off if you need to. Okay, let's cut all of this off and let's work with these 2 lines right here. Just these 3 here. Automatically, this looks like to me a lid color, I see these as some transitional colors. This one probably, this one and this one more. I'm looking in my mirror so I can see what I'm pointing to you guys. So that's why I'm not looking directly at you. This one and this one more because they're lighter than this one. I would take this one to probably smoke out my eye as much as possible, even though it's not as deep as as I usually like my outer corner. So sometimes you're not going to be presented with something that's too dark, but you're going to choose the darkest of those colors to help give you that smoky eye and to blend that out and to give you that darkness on the outer. So we're just, keep in mind, we're just talking about a basic eyeshadow look, because sometimes people who are new to makeup, they just want to achieve that basic look and they have no clue how to do that. So because they don't know how to use the makeup palette. So let's see. Now let's talk about if I was to use a lid color, a matte lid color. I'm gonna slide over to these 3 right here. These 6. These 2 lines and these 6 in the corner, because in my vision I've already cut off these other colors, right? So automatically I see this shimmer and this shimmer, right? Those 2 are lid colors to me. Now, if I wanted to do a matte color, I would probably go for this first, because it would still give me what I feel is a pop of color on my eyelid. It would still show, and then the colors around it, these 2 here mainly, can be used for transition and for deepening up the eye look and allowing this, because they are deeper, they allow this pop of color, this matte look, this matte eyeshadow, sorry, they allow this matte eyeshadow to still shine. Okay, that's because the contrast between the light and the dark. Let's go to my next palette that I picked out, because some of you will say, Tanisha, what if there are no browns that looks like some of my skin color? I said Tanisha, right? I don't know if I want to say that, but okay, I am Tanisha though. Some of you will say there are no real deep colors that are close to my skin color. So what do I do then? So I opened up next my ColourPop Pokemon palette to show you guys. This palette, this palette does not have my ideal transitional colors. So now I have to figure out what would be a transitional color for me in this palette. That's another thing, because depending on your skin tone, those transitional colors can look different on everyone. Most people like to choose like a brown or what's that color, like a brownish red color, or a deep brown, or a deep purple for the outer corner, that crease color, those type of things. But when you have a palette like this, it doesn't really present a lot of that. So this palette here is dealing with a lot of contrast, and this is where your skills really come into play, where you learn how to mix colors that don't really blend too well together. This is where having an eyeshadow base comes into play. When I did this look, I believe I did a yellow lid. Okay, now I can't remember what I did exactly for the video, but just looking at this video, I would have probably went into this one first because it is the closest thing to a brown. So I would put this brown probably as my transitional color. I'm gonna look at this palette and see what would be those transitional colors for me. So that would be hair, and depending what colors that I'm trying to go for, like on the lid, if I was doing a blue look, I'd probably use this as a transitional color. If I was doing a green look and I didn't have those browns that I needed, I'd probably use this as a transitional color because I have this and this green as my shimmers, right? And this is like a little bit of brown here. It's not as dark as I like my transitional colors to be, but sometimes you got to work with what you got, what the palette presents. So automatically, I see those shimmers. Those are like those easy lid colors. Then I have found what could be transitional colors for me, which would be those browns, those medium colors for me, because I would use this light blue as a lid and then come in with that transitional color in my crease. That's helping it blend from my brown skin to that blue to now that blue shimmer, right? And as well as like the inner corners, they're usually like for fun. That's the thing about makeup. Have fun with it. So those inner shimmer corners, I'm sorry, those, let's see, like this is like a glitter color. Look at that. That's so pretty. So like when you're doing those inner highlighting corners, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm getting all tongue-tied. When you're doing those inner highlighting corners, they can either match or not match because they're for fun. They're there to open the eyes. Sometimes people use it as just a pop of extra color. It's all about having fun with the makeup. Let's see, anything else? And I see the deeper colors in here. These are like my outer corners. I'm going to use this on the outer just to smoke everything up. That would be this color. That would be, and see, this palette does not give you a lot of those. So when you are presented with a palette like this is why you make sure that you use the lightest part on your lid and the deepest part on the outer. So you may not have like a bunch of blacks or a bunch of deep browns, but if you have these 3 different blues, you're going to try to use that deepest matte blue on the outer to give you that smoky look, to give it that blend, that gradient that most people are looking for. Now this color here, this is our deeper color. So let's talk about special situations. This is our deeper color right here, but this is not a matte color. This is a color that is it, let's see, this is a shimmer. And honestly, it gives me more like a foiled or metallic-y kind of look, feel to it. I would put this on my lid, as dark as it is. I would put something like this on my lid. And then I would probably put this, even though it's not darker than this, I'd still put this in my crease. Because 9 times out of 10, something like this will shine all on its own. Sometimes less is best, and you guys will learn that as you're going on with the makeup. I would put this on my lid, put this in my crease, and you know why? Because now that blue is the star of the show. This brown is not going to take much attention from that blue. So when you have a look like this, you're going to make it all about that color, right? Now, again, because each palette, you got to make it work with what you got. Some of them will not always give the exact transitional color that you're looking, or the exact looking for, or the exact highlighting color that you're hoping is going to be there. Now, of course, you can always mix and match your palettes, okay? That's always, you can pick out this color from here and make it work with this color from a different palette. That's totally fine. Me personally, I don't like doing all of that. I'm not gonna lie. Palettes are big, and sometimes having 2, 3, 4 of them out at a time, it's just a no for me. I don't know if that's me like being lazy, but when I have to have a palette here that I'm using and 3 palettes in front of me that I'm using, that's a headache. Especially if I want to like take my, like travel with my makeup or take my palettes with me. I need to be able to open my palette and choose, get this one cohesive look out of this one palette. For me, that's just easier to do. I have my brushes here. They are dirty, okay? So let's talk about when we are trying to achieve those looks while using those palettes that we are still learning, right? This is one of my bigger, fluffier brushes. I'm sure you guys can see that. This is one of my bigger, fluffier brushes. This brush here will be used for my transitional colors because I can take this brush and just like, it's so light and so fluffy. You don't need a lot of force when you're doing your transitional color. That is how you make it blend from your skin until the color that you're trying to achieve. Very light for me. Everyone is different. For me, I like to go in circular motions back and forth when I'm trying to do my transitional color, right? Then I have this one. Then I have this one, which is a little smaller than this one. A little, what's the right word? Denser. It's not as light and fluffy, so it's a little more stiffer. I'm usually going to use this in my crease because it's giving me more control of what's happening there. I can either just go back and forth, or I can slowly just kind of bring it up into that transitional color. That's how I would do that. Okay, this color here, this color, I'm getting tongue-tied, guys. It's been a while since I've done a video. I'm feeling nervous. This little guy here is much smaller. See, this is the second brush. This is much smaller and much more denser and much more tinier and stiffer. I would use this for my inner highlights, or even sometimes when I want to just get in here and just get what we call the outer V. It's a technique of when you just kind of go like this. And when you think of it, it's more like an arrow, like the arrow going that way. And we call it the outer V. So I would do that just for the outer V to deepen that up. Or I'd use this for my inner highlighter corner. What I would tell you guys is that the smaller the brushes become or get, the denser the brush. And that also gives you more concentration and more control of your color. Okay, and you still do not have to press down too hard. Now, these are more of my flatter brushes. I just probably just pat when I'm doing my, either my shimmer or my matte. Always use a patting motion first, not really a swiping motion. That's because that can create patchiness. And you first want to get that color on the lid before you start wiping it off. Because you don't realize you're wiping off the color off the lid before it even gets on there. Allow it to build the concentration of the color. That way the color is shining. Oops. That way the color is shining at its best, is doing its best job. You're letting it be as concentrated, as potent, as pigmented as possible. Okay, so you're going to always pat, and then you're going to kind of always give it you're always going to kind of contour it in a sense, because our eyeballs, we all have where that crease starts here. So we're always going to kind of bring it into that crease a little bit, and then we're going to remember, have our crease color there. Now, how you decide to do that and the order that you decide to do things, that's up to you. For me, that always depends on the eye look that I'm doing. Like I said, if I'm going to do a brighter look, I prefer to put my brighter colors down first. I always feel like it's easier to deepen things up versus then lighten things up, because when you put down a deeper color first, it may overpower, let's say, that yellow that you might be trying to, that deep color that you all have all in here, it may overpower that lighter color. So I prefer to use my lighter colors first, and then I go in and I deepen it up. Now, if it starts to darken those lighter colors that you're already using, that's okay, because now you have this lighter base that's already here. That first layer of shadow, that can work as a base. You will go back, you will pat that right back on again, right on over what you already have. You still have the brightness. It is much easier to darken something than it is to lighten something that is already dark. If it's dark already, you are going to be spending a long time. If you are not a pro, if you're just learning, you're going to be spending a long time trying to blend out that dark color. And what happens is you may never really get it right and may have to start over, because it will start to look muddy if you're not a pro at blending out those deeper colors. So yeah, that's my advice on how to use an eyeshadow palette. If it's too big, break it down. If it's too big, break it down. Make it smaller. Put it in corners. Put it in rows. You know, like I said, just don't use those. Even if you have to cover it, like with a, my daughter made this for me, a piece of paper. A piece of paper here, like if you need to, just so you can see just those 2 rows and you don't get distracted by the other colors. If it's too big, break it down. When you open the palette, recognize what can be used for what first. Recognize those transitional colors, those lid colors, those shimmers, those inner highlights, those smoky colors, those crease colors. And once you have recognized those things in a palette, you will know how to use your palette. In the beginning, I didn't know what those colors were. I didn't know the difference between them, how to differentiate them. I don't even know if I knew that they existed. To me, it was just all colors. You know, red, blue, orange, green, it didn't really matter. If I saw 3 greens in there, I'm like, well, why the hell are there 3 greens in there? Meanwhile, 1 green is transitional. 1 green is to smoke things out. 1 green can be that lime green to do that inner corner, or even to make it lighter under here, under the eye. Okay, so my nail broke, guys. Look at that. Anyway. So that is my advice on how to use a palette for a very, very first day 1 beginner. I want to say hi to my new subscribers. Okay, I appreciate all of you guys for your support, each and every one of you. And I'm going to see you guys next time. If you have any questions about how to use the palettes, or just any like color questions, combination questions, maybe I'll do a video on that as well, because sometimes combinations, certain colors just go well together. Blue and yellow, they clash very well together, and I'm using the word clash on purpose because that blue makes that yellow pop, even though normally they don't blend well together. But that's okay, because you can do a cut crease and that will make that yellow shine brighter even more. Pink and purple go well. They blend in beautifully together. Those oranges and yellows and those reds, they give the best. All those brown reds, those reddish browns, they give the best fall colors together. So that's also a good video to do, like those combination colors, because knowing those combinations can also help you choose a look and what's gonna look good on the eyes, and how to bring that together as a beginner. I know I look a mess. I just wanted to do a video. I didn't really want to like get all pretty dolled up. I just wanted to sit and talk to you guys. I miss recording. It's been hard with my daughter's school schedule changing, and my work schedule is still what it is. but I'm definitely still here. I'm going to be trying my best to record as much as possible whenever I can, however I can. It's the end of July, so I'm halfway through the summer. I can't wait till regular school gets back in session, okay, so that I can get back to my regular recording schedule. And I miss you guys. So anyway, thank you for your support. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.